Sitting comfortably, whatever that means for you. Sometimes the floor isn't the first most comfortable option, so you choose a chair, wherever you want to sit for a moment. And let's bring our hands together into traditional classic prayer mudra, Anjali mudra, and then keep the pinky and the tip of the thumb together and the heels of the hands together and open up the fingers and palm. This is Padma mudra. Padma is the lotus flower. You can, if this is comfortable, you can just lower your hands a little bit. Let your elbows relax down by your side, and the hands are a little more in front of the heart space. Feel free to close your eyes or soften the eyes, gaze at a point. This is a lovely gesture of unfolding. Reminding us of the connection between our inner sense of ourselves and the outer world. As yogis, we engage with both. So it's not a retreat to a high mountaintop in a cave. And yet it's not just giving yourself completely to the world, it's both. It's cultivating that inner sense of yourself and connecting out into the world. And that is yoga. So finding this place just for a moment to turn inward. To feel that background essence of yourself and true nature. And let yourself unfold in this metaphor of the lotus with beauty and strength. And the lotus sits in the muddy water. So a lot of times we sit in the mud. And it's because of the mud that the lotus blossoms. So beautiful. Just as it is. So bring your hands back together, fingers back together, bow your head. And then release your hands and open your eyes. Alrighty, so let us get started with our asana. So we'll take a roll blanket. Let's just open the shoulders to start this morning. So you'll need your blocks, have your blocks and strapped in a blanket. And take your blanket into a rectangle shape is good. And roll it up from one edge, the one long edge. Make it nice and firm there. And then it's going to be a vertical roll today. So the vertical follows the line of the spine. And right at this bottom edge is where the bottom of the shoulder blades will be. So bra strap line. So your lower back, lower ribs, and bum are on the floor. Knees are going to stay bent for this one. Feet on the floor, and just consciously plant your feet wherever feels comfortable for you. And then bring your hands, once you arrive here, rest your hands on your kind of middle lower rib cage area. So your elbows are wide. And you can perhaps feel your spine supported in the upper back, and the shoulder blades are sort of draping off to either side. And just take 5 slow breaths here, breathing into the space under your hands. So in our breath movement, the ribs really move a little sideways. On the inhale, they might expand a little bit sideways. And then on the exhale, there's just not a gripping closing in, but just an allowing of release inward. So try that for a couple more breaths. And then take your belt and hold it right up in front of your chest so your arms are straight. Relax your fingers so you're holding the strap nice and relaxed. And come back to the breath, the rhythm of your breath here. And start to lift the shoulder blades away from the floor. So they come up away from the blanket a bit. And then let them just glide back down. So we use a little bit of muscular effort to lift the shoulder blades up away from the floor, and then let them just come back down on their own. Try that a few times. The muscles that help to lift the shoulder blades in this direction are the serratus anterior muscles. They wrap around from the shoulder blade to the ribs. So you might feel those side, right under the armpit, kind of along the side of the rib there. And then we're just letting the shoulder blades passively move back to the floor. Let's do one more here. And then just pause, take the arms towards the wall behind you, and then lift them back up to the sky. So let's go 5 of these, inhaling as you go back, exhale as you come up. Don't worry about getting super far here. Just move it where it's comfortable. And then we'll go ahead. After your 5th one, take the strap aside. Let the arms expand out to the side. Widen your feet off the mat slightly. And then drop both knees to the left. And press down through the inside edge of the right foot a little. So the right hemipelvis, the right side of the pelvis comes up. And then roll the knees to the other side. So roll the knees to the right, push through the inside edge of the left foot. Let's let that come up a little bit, side of the pelvis. And then do that a couple more times on either side. All the while, slow, easy breathing. And as you're pressing down through the inner edge of the foot, you'll feel hopefully that same side of the pelvis lifting a bit. And now let's just finish off so you've gone both sides even. Coming back into the middle. And then from here, roll over to one side. And use your hands to help you up away from the floor. Take your blanket aside. And actually, you might want to unroll your blanket and use it for a knee padding. So we're just going to come to a low lunge now. So left knee stays back, right foot comes forward. And you're coming up into this low lunge position. Hands on the front thigh. And you can have the back toes tucked under or foot flat, whatever works better. Walk the front leg forward. And let's do a little dynamic movement here, lunging forward and back. So if you've been doing some sitting or a position in staying in one place for a while, couch comes to mind for me, especially after a holiday and it's raining. This can feel good to release some tension through the hips. Okay. Let's do a couple more here. Now we'll take your block wide, hold with the palms on either side of the block, and bring the arms gently out in front. They don't have to be straight. They just kind of soft here. And then take a little twist to the right. So we're rotating the rib cage. And then come through center and twist to the left. Orienting yourself from your breastbone. So you're turning from the breastbone. And back through center. Take the block behind you. Holding the palms at the side of the block like you did. The block comes away from the back of the torso. Bring the block out in front, and then arms come up as far as feels good. So just going in different shoulder ranges of motion here. And then bring the arms down. Step the front foot back. Switch to the other side. Left foot forward in a low lunge. You can have your hands on your front thigh, lunging forward and back. You can also bring your arms by your side, which will use a little bit, require a little more balance focus. And just moving in a range here where it feels strong, fluid, that you have some control forward and back. Feel the movement through the hips, the knees, feet. And then coming more into center, pause, bring your block out in front of you again, palms on the widest expression of the block here, and bend the elbows slightly. And then rotate breastbone to the left. Feel into the shoulder blades here. The left shoulder blade hugs towards the spine. Back through center and over to the right. Can you feel the difference in the shoulder blades here? So they shift with the twist, which is kind of cool. Back through center, take the block behind, hold the ends of the block, hug in slightly. And you lift away from the tail. Out of balance here. Okay, and then arms out in front, take the block into your hands again, and lift up through the arms. And then arms come down, bring the front foot back, hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Feel the weight through your fingers, the palm of your hand. And then lift the knees 1 inch from the floor if you can. Stay here. Feel some work through your abdominals, shoulders. Lower the knees back down. This time we'll take this from bear pose, floating knees. So knees are floating here and then back up into dog. Stretching down through the legs. The focal point of the downward dog is the heart space. It's the most weight-bearing place right now because our arms are holding us up. So from the heart, can you reach a little bit, bend the knees, reach a little bit back into the hips and down to the legs. Okay, and then moving your blanket, forgot to mention that. Walk forward, however you like to get there. So coming into a standing forward bend, grabbing the blocks, take your feet maybe shoulder width apart, about shoulder width. And turn the feet out slightly, so the knees and toes and thighs turn out slightly, and sit back into a high squat here with your hands on blocks. So your bum goes back. So the knees are behind the toes if you can. And then push through the legs a little bit to straighten them slowly. Maybe not all the way. Mine aren't going all the way today. And then knees and toes pointing out a little bit. Sit back into that squat. The other day I was out hiking, not hiking, but walking through Durand, and nature called, so I had to squat in the woods. And thank God for yoga, right? Push down through the feet. Fortunately, it was in a place where nobody was. Hands to the hips, inhale, come all the way back up to stand. All right, now let's take your position, turn to the side. Turn your legs and your feet out slightly. Let's do another squat from goddess pose, coming into the hips. So here, your torso is more upright. So your legs are coming up towards your torso rather than your torso coming down. And then straighten the legs and then sit back into it again. We'll do this just a few times. So turn the knees and the feet and the thighs out enough so that, or in a way, rather, let's say that the knees track right over the center of the feet. Okay, now let's inhale as you go down. Exhale as you come up. Inhale as you go down. Feel the sides of the ribs expand. Exhale as you come up. Let's do two more. Inhale down. Into the ribs, you're inhaling, and exhale, come up. Inhale down. Exhale, come up. Turn the legs straight ahead, step the feet back together. Standing on your left foot, bend your right leg, reach back, hold your foot. Take your left arm forward, press your right foot back into your hand. Baby dancer. Just notice your eyes. Find a way to soften the eyes. And right foot down, left foot back, thigh stretch. Take the right arm ahead and press the left foot back into the heel. Don't worry if there's wobbling. That's part of life. Part of life's flow. Come all the way back up, left foot back down. Inhale the arms up. And hands to the heart. Exhale one more time. Inhale. Stretching up, exhale, hands to the heart. Sit back into chair. Take your right foot back. Now you can ground the heel if you need more balance today, more stability, or stay on the ball of the back foot. Take the fingertips lightly behind your head, so not together, just kind of close to even the sides of the head is fine. Elbows can be wide here. Take a twist from the breastbone. Turn through the breastbone to the left. Back through center and over to the right. So feel the twist in the core of the body. And then back to the left. Over to the right now. We're going to slowly open the arms. I want you to turn this right hip out, right foot out. So you're more open for warrior two. Okay, so your right foot rotates in, the right hip rotates in. Bending the left knee, coming into warrior two. Take the back hand down the leg, turn the front palm open, stretching through the side of the torso. And then let's come into side angle, tilting out over the front leg. Right arm comes up. And let's go back into warrior reverse. So the legs, interestingly, don't change position here. It's more about the pelvis, torso, arms, and head that are moving. See if you can feel that as you're moving in both directions. Sometimes the front knee will want to bend and straighten a little, so just as comfortable, try to maintain the same position through the legs. And coming back up into warrior two. Straighten the front leg, hands to the pelvis, tilt out into a triangle. Take your hand down to the leg, other arm. Breathing into the lower middle ribs here. If you can, just find your breath there. Standing all the way back up. And then however you need to, you can step your back foot in a little bit and come back to the front of your mat. And then hands to the heart. Inhale the arms up. And sit back into chair. Left foot back, either high lunge on the ball of the back foot or warrior one Warrior one is traditionally done with the back heel grounded, the left leg rotated out slightly. So take whichever position works good for you and bring your fingertips to the side of your head, elbows wide. Connect to the ground and through your legs so that you can relax a little here in the upper body and then rotate and think about your breastbone here. We're turning to the right. Breastbone is doing the turn. Okay, and then through center and to the left. So the oblique muscles, which run from the ribs to the pelvis, both front and back, that's what we're using. Those muscles are what we're working with to do these turns. They're nice deep muscles there. Come back to center. Okay, and then I forgot what we did here, but we're gonna take the hands to the heart and spin on the back heel. Coming into warrior two, so left leg is the back leg. So a little tricky to do that transition sometimes. So then set yourself up so your left hip rotates in, left leg in. Take warrior two here. And now just notice your legs. Imagine on this right leg, you could push your leg out into a wall that's to the right of you. So you're really strong in that front leg hip. And then from there, take your reverse warrior. And just be conscious of the right thigh pressing out. Okay, and then side angle. So when we can rely on our legs, then our upper body feels free to express. Think about we express from our hands, we express from our heart. When we give someone something, right, our rib cage and arms are the expression hubs of the body. Steady in the legs in order for that to happen. Okay, come back up to warrior two. Hands to the pelvis, straighten the front leg some, and then triangle pose. I just like to have my hands on the pelvis so I get that sense of tilt here. And then left arm up. Soft eyes. Move down, rise up, and then however you like, again, we'll come to the front of the mat, coming back into Tadasana. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Bend from the hips as you fold for Uttanasana. Letting the crown of the head release as best you can. Bend the knees slightly, belly to the thighs. And then we'll briefly either set back into down dog or into a child's pose or puppy pose, your choice. Maybe you're ready for a little one pose speaks to you more than the others. So just take a moment there. If you're in down dog, again, bend the knees a little, push through the hands, take the hips back. And then let's bring the knees down to the floor. And we'll come into child's pose or puppy pose. So child's pose, the feet are traditionally more together, knees are wider, and the hips go back. Puppy pose, knees and feet are more parallel to one another, and you go back, okay? So kind of the difference there. And then whatever feels good here. So sometimes this is a little tricky for your hips, your knees. So just stay with your hips in a position where it's comfortable. Stretching the arms forward. Feel from the muscle I talked about, the serratus over here on the side of the shoulder blade that connects to the ribs. You could think about that area stretching from there. Take a breath. And then walk yourself back. Have a seat on some height. Just for a moment, take your legs wider. And just sit like so for a moment. And flex and point your feet. It's okay if your toes come along for the ride. Then pause the flex and point, and flex and point just the toes. So kind of spread all the toes and then see if you can curl the toes. Spread the toes and curl the toes. Spread the toes, curl the toes. Great. And then go ahead and relax your toes. Maybe take your right hand down, stretching out to the side here, stretching this left side region of the torso. You can keep the fingers at the shoulder. Bring the elbow up. I like this stretch, just sometimes helps to, I don't know, give some blood flow to this back quadrant of between the waist, the ribs, and the pelvis. Maybe the arm comes up and then come back up, and we'll go over to the other side, left hand down, fingertips to the shoulder here is fine. Bring the elbow up or the arm. Sometimes the stretch feels so good, we push into it a bit. So try to notice if you want to push and maybe don't go there. The body is like, it just knows, and the brain wants to dictate sometimes what's best. Just listen to the body. Okay, and then come back up. Now you can either take your legs in a cross-legged position and stay sitting for the last couple of minutes if you want, or you can lay down if you feel like you're just having one of those mornings when you need shavasana horizontal, a shavasana, and or stay upright sitting. If you want to, you can bring your hands into lotus mudra, padma mudra. Palms together, pinky and thumb stay together, heel of the hand together. So creating your lotus flower, bringing your hands to the heart. Could be a little bit tricky lying down, so this is optional, of course. Closing the eyes. Imagine the stillness of the pond, and deep in the muck arises the lotus, and its beauty is created in that environment. And then just let your hands come down to the floor or to the legs, palms open. Breath by breath. Letting yourself relax. And from our short time together now, you can stretch a little bit through fingers and toes. If you feel ready to come back up into sitting again,